talk about best horror movies on Netflix. So before starting this video, please like this video, and subscribe to our channel for the future updates. When evaluating the Netflix horror library in 2023, it is instantly evident that the selection is a true mixed bag. It gets harder and harder for Netflix to convey any feeling of comprehensiveness as other services, especially genre-specific ones like Shudder, keep growing their horror movie libraries, while its library grows more static and dependent upon Netflix originals on a monthly basis. Netflix, for example, has occasionally shown classic films like The Shining, Scream, Jaws, The Silence of the Lambs, or Young Frankenstein in addition to more current indie classics like The Witch, The Descent, or The Babadook. Here are the list of best horror movies on Netflix. Let's start. Number 5. Creep. The overnight director Bryce, who also produced Creep this year, makes his directorial debut with this slightly predictable but gleefully deranged short horror movie. The film, which stars the insatiably creative Mark Duplass, is a character study of two men, a naive videographer and a reclusive psychotic man who employs the former to come record his life in a cabin in the woods. It completely depends on its good results. As the crazed madman who pours himself into the protagonist's life and haunts him at every moment of the day, Duplass, who has displayed his ability to be endearing and quirky in films like Safety Not Guaranteed, excels here. The exchanges between the two at the beginning crackle with an uneasy tension. Number 4. Midnight Mass. Every islander on Crockett Island in Midnight Mass feels beset by bad luck. The island's local fishing industry was devastated by the recent oil disaster, which nearly wiped off the fish supply. Their houses peel and disintegrate from neglecting the effects of the ocean. Due to lack of opportunities, the vast majority of islanders have left, leaving only a pitiful minority behind. They may only travel to the mainland on 2 ferries. A significant storm is brewing, and there is little hope left. What can be said about this 7-episode Netflix series is that, despite its forays into the paranormal, Midnight Mass, created by the haunting Mike Flanagan in his most recent collaboration with Netflix, is a show that digs in rather than thrusts itself outward. Midnight Mass is concerned with the horrors within, addictive tendencies, hidden histories, and issues of forgiveness and belief. It does this by emphasizing both the external claustrophobia of Crockett's environment and the emotional agony of its characters. It appears to be a television series that has mined Catholic guilt for valuable material. In another, it offers a sobering, though considered perspective on group psychology, the necessity for faith in grief, and the morality of leadership with such gullible subordinates, considering whether these tendencies are indicative of human goodness, wickedness, or simply nothing at all. Blessed are those who have believed despite not having seen. Anyone can choose to attend Midnight Mass, whether they are a true believer or a doubting Thomas. What distinguishes a miracle from a paranormal occurrence, exactly? Number 3. The Haunting of Hill House. The Haunting of Hill House's aesthetic makes it effective as both a skillful adaptation of Shirley Jackson's iconic book and as horror television. The monsters, ghosts, and other phantoms on the wall are either barely visible, off-screen, or hidden by shadow. In order to create unease and inconsistency, the series even goes back to some of the camera movement and shot design choices from the original film version. Perhaps inconsistency is the wrong word to use here. When you watch it, your head is the only thing that seems truly inconsistent because you are constantly on the lookout for tricks but are frequently fooled by the way the scenes are put together. By accepting the squirm and the time required to make a squirm instead of jump. The Haunting of Hill House does a fantastic job of conjuring up unsettling scenes and even better at letting us stew in them. Number 2. His House. Fear movies that hold back on fear are the worst for draining its energy. Of course, there are many other ways that films might frighten viewers, but the very least a horror film should do is to be frightful rather than silly. His House by Remy Weeks doesn't mess around. Within 10 minutes of its tragic beginning, the movie easily outshines The Grudge by scattering spirits whereas heroes can trip over them on the floor and over the stairs. In the end, this is a film about the unavoidable melancholy inherent to immigrant experiences, a companion piece to recent independent films like Mediterranea by Jonas Carpignano, which vividly depicts the perils that immigrants face traveling and arriving at their destinations. Weeks has a strong personal interest in Bol and Rial, their background, their reasons for leaving, and most importantly, what they did to leave. Weeks is as committed to exhilarating his audience, though. Number 1. Us. Us explains what Get Out means. Jordan Peele's filmmaking already looks preset for perfection after just 2 movies. The Hitchcock analogies are just waiting to be stuffed between commas, and Peele openly speaks and behaves in references. Us doesn't squander anything, unlike Get Out before it, but even more so, time, film stock, the equally exact skills of his performers and crew, real estate in the frame, or the opportunity for a joke. If his films are the sum of their influences, then he is an intelligent director with a lot of ideas who knows how to distill those concepts into narratives that never bloat, even though he isn't afraid to confuse his audience with exposition or take obvious risks, such as the movie's climactic twist. That, if one were inclined, expand and grow in significance in one's imagination the longer one attempts to assert that what Peele is doing is even remotely simple. Us introduces us to the Wilson family, which includes the serene matriarch Adelaide, Lupita Nyong'o, the gregarious father Gabe, Winston Duke, the daughter Zora, Shahadi Wright Joseph, the adorable epitome of the innocent younger brother Jason, Evan Alex, and the head-on sci-fi horror film. Although far from superficial, the characters adopt stereotypical signifiers, such as Zora's propensity for running or Gabe's size betraying a softer heart. Peele never spoon-feeds cheap characterizations. Instead, he just gets us on board with his viewpoint. Us isn't overtly about race, but it is about humanity's innate propensity for othering, which involves forcing individuals to view the world through limited lenses and then holding them accountable for everyone loosely fitting into a Venn diagram. No matter how well we understand what is actually happening, and one is prone to watch the movie more than once to get a handle on it, the images are still stark, hilarious, and horrifying. A child's burned face, a flare gun that malfunctioned, a cult-like display of inhuman devotion, Tim Heidecker bent over maniacally, walking as if he's balanced on a thorax, his soul as good as creased. When taken out of context, these moments continue to convey absurdity witticisms combined with mind-bending horror of a future in which we have become so cut off from one another that we will eventually sever the thread holding us together and fall apart. The problem is with us. So, feel free to draw Hitchcock similarities. They are richly deserved by Peele. It's best to avoid overanalyzing the situation, avoid tainting a positive experience, and avoid expecting anything more from the genre filmless than supremely enjoyable, exquisitely thoughtful, and endlessly frightening genre cinema. What do you think of our video? Let me know in the comments section below. If you enjoy this video and want to hear from me again, be sure to hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.